Hi, this is Angie with Southern Ohio Christian Voice, and we are here on the campus of Ohio Christian University in Circleville, Ohio, with Joseph Habedank. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And it's a beautiful night here in Ohio. Actually, it's not. It's nasty. We got
It's
snow.
snowing outside.
I do not miss
But
this.
you're from Ohio, so you know
Yeah.
what that's like.
I do. Lindsay, my wife, was asking. She said, "Do you think they're going to cancel?" I said, "It's Ohio. This is 4th of July weather out here. It's beautiful."
Well, you live in Nashville now. Do they not have any snow in Nashville?
You know what? Not a whole lot. We have maybe 1 or 2 snows a year, and then most of the time it's pretty mild. Now, when we left, it was probably about as cold as it is here. So, and this is, I don't know when this will air, but this is November. So, yeah.
Well, I mentioned earlier you're a Buckeye fan,
Oh,
so you're
yes.
back in familiar territory. We're just about a half hour south
I
of the
am.
shoe here, and so welcome back home.
Thank you. It's good to be home.
I was there at Louisville the night that the Perrys introduced you
Yeah.
as a member of their group. What were you, about 18 at the time?
I was
or-
17.
Okay.
Yeah, when they hired me, and I turned 18 a week after they hired me. So that was a pretty amazing experience. That was back in 2003. So it's been about 15 years ago. And if you're doing the math, I'm 33, the age of Jesus. So yeah, happy about that.
And so you had a good run with the Perrys there
Yeah.
for about 10 years?
10 years.
And a little embarrassing moment, I was also there at the Quartet convention the night you were late to the stage in front of 20,000
oh,
people.
man, it was awful. That was probably the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me in my music career, because I had never been late to stage. Really, I don't like being late anywhere. But that particular event, you know, there's about 20,000 people. And I was late. I mean, they said, "Make welcome to Perry's," and I was halfway up the ramp in a dressing room, and I thought, boy, it sounded like they said the Perry's. And sure enough, I put on my jacket. I didn't have my jacket on. I put on my jacket and ran. And when I got there, I thought I was gonna get fired, but they were very gracious, and so.
Well,
yeah.
they were singing a song and you ran up on the stage and started singing with them.
I
So
did.
it was
Took right over.
pretty funny. We were all worried. Thought you were sick or something, you know. You weren't appearing that night, but
I wasn't sick, but I felt pretty sick after I was late. I'll tell you that.
So you mentioned that August 30, 1990 is one of the best days of your life.
Yeah.
Tell us about that day.
What actually happened here in Ohio, I was saved at 4 years old in a little town called Beaver Creek, Ohio, Fairborn area. And my papa, who was a preacher, led me to the Lord. And it's amazing because, you know, I'm 33 now. That's been 29 years ago. And I can still remember it pretty vividly, the explanations, the illustrations that he made that night to kind of introduce me to Jesus. And best day of my life. And I've spent the rest of my life singing about him, writing about him, and it's just the greatest privilege I've ever had to be a Christian and to be able to sing about Jesus. So I'm really honored and grateful, and thank you for what you all do to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're so grateful for publications like yours and websites like yours that help further our ministries. We really appreciate it.
Well, and then God had a hand in helping you to overcome some great challenges in your life. And I heard
Yes.
you tell your story to Lauren Green on Fox News a few years ago. Maybe tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing as part of that now.
Yeah, I actually had a prescription drug problem after having an ulcer on my throat. An ulcer grew to be about the size of a quarter, and it abscessed and just was introduced to pain medicine through all of that and got hooked on it. And I struggled for many years, probably a good 5 years off and on, and finally ended up losing my job at the Perrys. They wanted me to get some help. I wanted to get help. And I don't know when this will go up on your site, but today, as we're doing this interview, has been 2,000 days that I've been off of all prescription pain medicine. I certainly give the Lord all the glory and praise for that and what He's done in my life and what He continues to do through our ministry, because now we get to help other people. A lot of times there's people in the audience that even if they won't come up and admit that they're struggling, they always have somebody in their family who's struggling, and so I'm able to share my story and encourage them that what God did for me, He can do for them and He can do for their family members, and I'm just so privileged and honored that God would allow me to share my testimony. It was pretty evident early on in my solo ministry that was going to be a big part of what I do, and I was okay with that because it kind of raised accountability for me as a recovering prescription drug addict. So certainly been the worst thing that ever happened to me. God made the best thing that ever happened to me, and He has a funny, not funny, but He has an amazing way of doing that, and I'm really grateful.
Well, God is good, and He has blessed you in your ministry since that time. You were named Soloist of the Year in 2017, right?
Yeah, and this year as well. This is the last 2 years, so it's pretty amazing. And had a Grammy nomination. Didn't win it, but still it was neat to go. And there was a little starting artist named Reba McEntire that beat me. And then we went up for several Dove Awards. I think 5 Dove Awards, and won one of them. And so, besides that, I think the most rewarding thing is that God took what was broken in my life and fixed it and used it. And like I said, only God could do that.
That's a great testimony.
Thank you.
And I understand you have your wife with you here.
Yes, well, she travels with me full time.
Lindsay?
She doesn't just tag along, she actually works for our ministry, so this is her full-time job. She's our road manager and our sound engineer. She runs the office when we get home. And I tell people she does everything that I don't do, and I don't do nothing. So,
and she sings with you on your new project.
She does. She doesn't like to sing live as much as she used to. She loves to run the sound. That's her thing. She doesn't want to get up from the sound booth and go to the stage, but she really enjoys singing in the studio. So she's sang on actually the last 3 albums, but my new album is called Hymns with Friends. It's the first duets album that's been done in our genre of music, Southern gospel music, since the 1990s. Vestal Goodman did it, and so I thought it was about time we tried that again. So we did, and got some great people on there. Lindsay's on there, my wife, Bill Gaither, Connie Hopper, the Irwins, who we're on tour with, Wes Hampton, Charlotte Ritchie, Brooklyn Collinsworth, Jim Brady, so many amazing artists. Libby Stuffle with the Perrys is on there, and so we've just got some really amazing artists, some of my favorite singers. So we hope you'll pick that up, Hymns with Friends. It's actually on our website, josephhabedank.com, and would love to send you one of those, so please pick that up.
What's coming up for Joseph Habedank in the near future?
We're actually working on a new original material album. It's called, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but it'll be 10 new songs that I've written. A lot of people don't know that I actually write all my songs, so it takes me some time to write. I've actually written probably 50 songs for this album, and we'll record 10 of them. So we have actually been dealing with that today, getting ready to do that new record. I'm so excited. These new songs are probably the greatest songs that I've ever been able to be a part of, and so I'm so honored and excited about sharing them with people.
Well, speaking of songs, one of your biggest songs was If You Knew Him,
Yeah.
and that was a big hit for you, and I know that our church has really, we love that song.
I'm so glad.
It's really been a blessing to us.
It's amazing. That song actually turned 10 years old this year, and we wrote it in October of 2008. So pretty amazing what God has done with that song. And I was telling Lindsay today, really, a song can change everything. It can change your life, it can change your ministry, your career. It certainly did for me, and that song changed a lot of things for me in a good way.
Well, thank you for talking to us
My
tonight.
privilege.
And again, this is Angie with Southern Ohio Christian Voice, and you can find our website at sohiochristianvoice.com.